Hey guys, welcome back to 2.0. I'm your host, JR. It's a pleasure to be on your screen again. Thank you very much for your love and support. If you are one of our returning subscribers, we thank you. We appreciate the support. And if you have not had the chance to subscribe to the channel yet, I want to invite you to take this opportunity to click on the subscribe button. And also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you are notified when we release a new episode. All right, so we are getting ready to dive into part two of the interview with Eddie. If you did not have the chance to catch part one, I would encourage you to go back and watch the first episode and then come back and dive into the second episode. So we are talking with our guest here, Eddie. As you heard, he was married and unfortunately he got divorced and he's got two kids. And we are just getting into the weeds of his story. So I promise you, you're gonna find it very interesting and very fascinating. So without further ado, let's jump into the second part of the interview, and we'll see you soon. And there was one thing that you said earlier, that you were bitter about any romantic, relationships or the idea of any romantic relationship. So, at what point did you start feeling comfortable or start thinking about maybe you want to, kind of like be open up to it and give it a try?
I think it took at least 4 to 5 years
Okay.
before I even consider.
Oh, before you can consider it. Okay.
But it takes a long time before you can get your finances into order. You start doing a little investment here to see if you can get some money from another source.
Right, right.
Things like this. And you go to the other church, you go like somebody, you are unknown actually. Nobody knows you. They
Right.
see you on stage playing, and that's all they know about you.
Right, right.
So it was a comfort zone.
Gotcha. So it was easier for you to open up
Oh,
and
yeah.
consider that.
You shake hands with everybody. They don't have to ask you questions. They don't have to get into your business.
Right. It's interesting you say that because now, like in the dating world, right? People was always talking about, well, you know what? If you don't have enough money, don't even bother people. You shouldn't be dating. But it's interesting now you say, well, now that I'm working, I'm making, better money. So now I felt like I feel like I was comfortable enough to kind of like entertain the idea of
Yeah.
dating.
I'm kind of old school. If
Yeah.
I invite you out,
Yeah.
I'm paying.
You- I guess I'm the same way, man. I was raised that way, so
Yeah.
that's why sometimes it's hard for me to process the whole idea of like 50-50 type of
Yeah,
thing. I'm like,
I
man,
process
I
this
don't,
one.
yeah, I wasn't raised like that.
That's why I refrain myself from inviting anybody out.
Right.
Hey, hi, how are you doing? I crack a joke and that's about it.
Gotcha. So, at some point, you decided that you were gonna date again. So, did you have any fear of dating because of the past relationship that ended up in divorce?
I was more confident.
Mm-hmm.
By this time, I had my own place, my own property. I had more independence. My experience, I settled because I didn't want to be negative about anything.
Okay.
I tried to understand her point of view, why she had to do what she had to do, in which way I can correct it the next time over, next time around. So I said, okay, now if I ever get involved in a relationship with somebody, I'm going to behave this way. I'm going to do this.
Gotcha.
In fact, I've always been like this because I know I didn't grow up with my father. I never saw interaction between my mom and my father. Although I had neighbors, I used to, take a peep and see the way they behave.
Yeah.
People you envy.
Yeah.
I'd like to be like so and so.
Right.
So you are making plain. I was making plain in my head when I meet that person that I love, who loves me, I fall in love with. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to hold her hand.
Right.
Taking it out and all. You be plain to be a nice guy, avoiding argument. I became like that.
Gotcha.
I don't get involved in argument. I became. Sometimes I would come across as cold.
Yeah.
Because I shut down anytime I see argument coming my way.
Yeah.
I would sit down looking at it like a dead fish.
Yeah. I think a lot of guys are like that. We shut down and we let the person get their point out, do what it is that they need to do, and then later on when they come, then we'll have a conversation to talk about it. But what do you feel like was the biggest lesson that you learned from the marriage?
I think I passed it on to my son already, and you said it already. If you're not prepared mentally and financially, don't get involved. Because nowadays there is this concept of alpha male. It's in the conversation a lot.
Yeah.
And then even in our community, when I say our community, in the black community,
Yeah.
you know, it's you have to be the six. You get it. I don't have to be the 6'5" and you have to be in charge. You have to have the money, and then you don't expect to ask somebody the 50-50 after you pay. I'm going to pay for the house, and then it puts a man in a very weak situation. I mean, if you happen to find somebody who has something to put on the table, it's good. But I told my son, if you're not ready, keep on praying.
Right.
You have to be ready mentally, and I try to teach him, you got to understand that you come from a broken marriage.
Yeah.
Learn from what you see, and start planning for the mistake you don't want to make neither. So
Gotcha.
you got to be ready financially, mentally, and spiritually.
Got it. So at this point, when it came time for you to start dating again and then considering a serious relationship, so you felt like you were in a position where you were, like you said, you were making more money, and mentally you felt like you were more prepared.
Yeah, I felt I was more prepared. I was more mature. I know I've always been like this, but I was more prepared to be respectful to a lady. And sometimes I felt that I paid too much respect, actually.
Wow.
Because sometimes I'm looking at some of the guys who are successful in their marriage.
Yeah.
They are not as respectful as I am.
You're wondering how.
And I wonder, how can this guy be successful?
and here you are.
And I'm looking at this guy, he has less education. How come he can be successful? and then I don't know what to make of it.
Gotcha.
I don't know. But I felt that I was
You were ready.
on a better state of readiness for it.
Got it. So eventually you got remarried.
Eventually I got married.
Nice. And how long was that marriage?
10 years?
Oh, that was 10 years.
10 years.
Okay.
Going 11.
11. Okay.
11. But it doesn't mean that all of the 10 years were 10 years being married. It was not that's the time the marriage ended. You know, no more communication. And
Like
it ended
officially ended.
Officially ended.
Okay.
But when you see people end the marriage, it ended a long time ago.
Gotcha.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
It ended a long time ago.
So now you unfortunately were dealing with another divorce.
Right now,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done. I dealt with it before.
Gotcha.
But you got to talk about separation first before you go to divorce. You know, the second marriage life, how was it? These are the kind of things let me put myself.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to walk a tightrope right now, a tightrope, not to bash my ex because I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because you don't read the person's mind, there are many things you don't know. And sometimes when you want to come across a certain way, the person doesn't read you that way.
Right.
Sometimes I try to reinforce that I'm a simple guy. I said, I have nothing in hiding. What you see is what you get.
Right.
But sometimes I feel that they think I'm more complicated, but I see myself as a very simple guy. So the way you see yourself is not the way people see you or your partner sees you.
Right.
So that's where the problem lies right there. Their upbringing is not your upbringing.
Right.
You know, the person comes from a family life that is not your family life. You are approaching things on different angles. You know, your taste is not their taste. You like action movies. They like romantic movies.
Yeah.
And then if they are watching an action movies and you go and watch your romantic movies because you are not romantic, you know, you should be sitting here watching the movie with me. And when you come and sit watching the movie with the person, you're not allowed to make any comments. It's not your movie. It's my movie.
You can't talk.
You cannot talk.
Come on, Eddie.
It's fine. I'm trying to be a husband.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to sit here just being a
Right,
statue next to you.
Yeah, you're trying to engage in the process.
I'm trying to engage and I messed up the whole situation.
Poor guy. He can't win.
I kill it. I kill it. You try to. You don't need to make comments.
Right. Just sit there and watch.
Just sit there and watch.
Yeah, don't ask.
And then there may be some action. You say, why did you have to say that? And you get the look.
It's not your job to criticize the movie, man.
It's not your job to criticize the movie.
There.
And plus, it's my movie. It's not your movie.
I'm allowing you the opportunity to sit here, okay?
And me, sometimes when I have a situation like this, I tend to laugh.
Yeah.
And then you're making a mockery of me.
Yeah,
It's not my
makes it worse.
intention.
It makes it worse.
It's not in my intention to laugh at you.
Yeah.
But it come across like that.
Right.
So it's a bunch of things like this, and then
Yeah.
you are so different. I find out that I don't think I'm good at this thing. And then at one point I feel that it's either I've killed her passion, I've killed her emotion toward me. I don't know what I did.
Right.
Because honestly, I approached it with a good heart. I wanted to be married. I wanted to spend the rest of my life married with somebody next to me.
Right.
But at one point I feel that either I killed it or it was dead.
Yeah, it was.
It was dead. But I don't want to come across as a saint.
Yeah.
Because I think I made that mistake while I was in the marriage too, trying to be a good Christian, and then I come across as a Pharisee that I want to appear like I'm holy, but I was just a Christian trying to do the right thing, not to go and hit outside and get the lady on the side, and then I was at home.
Right.
But probably my presence was too much, was boring.
Okay.
You are always at home, doing stuff. It doesn't mean, and you try to go on vacation, you go on the vacation, but I see that the vacation didn't change anything.
Well, I mean, yeah, because maybe the same attitude that you had in the house is what you took on vacation as well, right? So it shows, yeah. But I mean, it's good because it sounds like you are taking some accountability for things that happen. You analyzing the situation to see what went wrong and what you might have done
and what I've heard,
right? And what you might have done better. And now, considering it's it's the second divorce, so is there a point where I don't know, you look at yourself in the mirror and say, could it be that I'm the problem?
Yeah, you have to analyze yourself to see, am I the problem? What did I do? Is it being myself compatible with marriage? And it was that conclusion that I brought. I said, the way I am, I don't think I'm. Because I try to look at other people who are married.
Yeah.
And sometimes I say, can I be like this? And sometimes you say, no, I cannot be like that. I know I'm not the subservient type of guy.
Right.
I'm not the type of guy at 2 o'clock you ask me to go to the grocery store. I will tend to say, I'm tired, honey. so
you're not gonna go because man, listen,
in this way I'm guilty. I'm guilty.
Okay.
It's like I know somebody. I cannot be too specific. I know somebody who works all day long, come out home at 10 o'clock, and that's the time the wife say, we got to walk outside and get outside and walk for another hour. And the guy has been working since 6 o'clock and come home around 9 o'clock, and then me, I would be tired.
Right. But I'm guessing that's that's their quality time, right? Because the wife didn't see you for 9 hours, or for 8 hours, or 10 hours. So now that I see you, we're gonna do something that we do together to spend time together.
Kudos to guy who can do it.
You see.
Because the type of job I have, I already say I'm a teacher. It's like I work with a lot of people, and then and I'm old too.
Yeah.
When I come home, I'm drained. I have nothing left. I'm drained. I need blood. Sometimes I need that 1 hour. That 1 hour blink to just unwind. So I need it. And sometimes I feel that, not that she did that to me, but I'm giving an example of somebody I know.
No, I know. I hear you.
I know that that was in that situation. I'm looking at the guy and say, should I be like him?
Yeah.
I say, I cannot be like this because I need that time to unwind. Of course, From Friday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, that's different.
Yeah.
Or when I'm on vacation, when I go on vacation,
You're on vacation.
I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. I go crazy.
Right.
And I think I was too social too. I'm a social guy. You know me this way. I have friends. I'm talking all the time, and then
Yeah.
I'm having fun with my friends. And then when I'm talking to my friends, I'm more of myself
Okay. Okay.
than when I'm with my wife,
Right.
ex. Because I have restrictions when I'm with you.
Okay.
I cannot crack just any joke.
Yeah.
When my friend, it's unfiltered. Friends from childhood.
Right.
I got from friends we've been together since we were 4 years old. When I'm with those guys, I'll go in the yard and talk. We're laughing.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that I'm having more fun with my friend than with her. So, and I was not doing it to provoke her. It just really, I'm having more freedom with them. This was true.
Mm-hmm.
Because things I can talk to them, with them, I cannot talk about these things with you.
Did you guys go to counseling about some of those things?
In the beginning, the friendship of marriage, we went to counseling, but I never went after that.
Okay. So are you opposed to counseling, or you don't believe in counseling? Because I know you didn't go to counseling after the first divorce.
To tell you the truth, it never came to the conversation at all. After we went 3 sessions, and then no. At one point, not too long after, I felt that she didn't have any emotion toward me.
Okay.
And at one point, I felt that I had lemon that I'm going to make lemonade.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick in there.
Right.
Not looking for more, not looking for too much, not looking for too much romance. At one point, I lost hope that she could love me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she found me lovable at that point. Not that I'm blaming her. She fell out of love.
Mm-hmm.
She fell out of love. I felt it, and I might have been wrong not to seek help because I didn't have any more hope that she could be restored. Because, like the song from, I forgot her name, Laura Jones, I can't make you love me if you don't.
Right.
So I get to that point. So I said, I don't think I can ever get her to love me. So,
right. Gotcha.
But I was hanging in there. I was not trying to be mad. I was not angry at her.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I didn't swear. Nothing.
Yeah. So, I was thinking like at one point, because of the fact that you already had one divorce under your belt, and trying to avoid a second one.
Yes.
Would you have considered, or should you have considered, like, outside resources like counseling or anything else that you could have done?
I should have, but at one point I didn't see how I can make somebody love me. Because to my perspective, if I'm abusive to you, punching you verbally or physically, I need to be counseled.
Yeah.
If I'm drinking, if I'm cheating, if I'm not taking care of my kids, if my money is not being paid at the house, somebody can sit down with me and say, man, come on, you got this bill to pay, blah, blah, blah. You cannot be punching your wife. You cannot be swearing at her, calling her name, blah, blah, blah. Somebody can say that to you. But if I feel that you don't love me, can somebody make you love me?
Yeah, that's...
This was the rational, I may be wrong, by the way.
Yeah.
But that's how I felt. When I felt by the look, by the stare down, I'm giving that joke. It's not a joke.
No,
that's real thing.
Gotcha.
I had a TV room at the house, and then I came from work. I used to cook. I go and do my plate. I go and do my plate, and come and sat next to her watching TV, for example, and I saw this stare up down, like when people give you that stare down, like a demeaning thing.
Yeah.
And I'm a joke. I'm not trying to fight. I go like. I said, do I smell?
Do I
smell like because that's really how I felt.
Yeah.
I felt, did I take a shower or something?
Yeah.
So that's how I felt. When you start feeling like this, and I didn't make any commotion, nothing.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel that she doesn't have anything more for me because my presence was annoying.
Right.
So if my presence was annoying, can counseling solve that?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a, you know, I'm not a professional in this
I know
field.
you don't.
Yeah, I know, but maybe, I mean, maybe counseling could have helped tapped into some
Yeah,
things that, you know,
something
she
I've
may be
done.
dealing with or something that you're doing, and, you know, maybe it could have helped in certain ways. And also, not to mention the fact that, you know, I'm not blaming it on your childhood, but the fact that
Yeah.
you know, you didn't grow up with a father, so you didn't get to see some interaction between mom and dad in the house. So there are certain things that might have been, you know, lacking somewhere that counseling may have been able to tap into
Could
to
have.
help you. Yeah, yeah.
I remember one conversation I had on that issue.
Mhm.
I opened my heart. I talk about my childhood,
Yeah.
and I started talking about myself. First, open the conversation,
Right.
and then I switched the conversation, and the answer I had was, "The past is the past.
Mm.
I don't talk about my past." So
Gotcha.
the door was shut.
Right. So, I mean, that could be an indication to, you know, something that happened that's very hurtful that they don't want to go in there
Yeah.
or they don't want to talk about it. But, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it is what it is. So, so I know like the impacts are probably different, right, from the
Yeah, it's
first
different.
divorce and the second divorce, especially because I don't think there were any kids on the second
No.
marriage, right?
No.
Okay, so then what do you think? What other aspects of emotional impact did you have to deal with?
Emotionally, I would say now when you get divorced in your 30s,
Mm-hmm.
you can rebuild.
Yeah.
You can do a bunch of things. Now it's over. I'm
How-
not thinking about marriage.
How old are you now? If you don't mind.
That's the elephant in the room. That's the elephant.
I
in the
guess.
room.
I guess. Well, I think you just answered the question. I was only asking because
No, it's
I'm
over.
trying to see, you
It's
know, if
over.
you were. So you're not thinking about, you
It's
know.
over.
Okay.
It's over.
Gotcha. So that
That's the
goes
hard
close
part.
for you.
That's the hard part about it right now. It's
Mhm.
like I'm on my knees, as I tell you, I pray a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Even as of this morning, I was praying, and asked God to fill me with His presence. So
Mhm.
all of those missing part,
Right.
missing things, He can fill them for me. Because and I keep on asking Him to help me to number my days, so that I may apply my heart into wisdom.
Yeah.
So that's what I pray God for, to be more useful to society, to other people,
Mhm.
to His kingdom the best I can.
Yeah.
That's what I focus more on now. On my old days, how I'm gonna spend them to be useful to other people. Maybe that's why I come right here in that in this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who it will help, if I've helped anybody at all.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the kind of things I want to do: spread the gospel, talk to other people, work in church, and play more music for God. And I teach more the word. I'm more involved in this and more involved in my kids' life. As they are growing up, see how I can tell them, now watch this, watch that.
Right.
I made that mistake. Don't make that mistake. Things like this.
Gotcha.
If they can see that in me, if they can see the Father in me, the love of the Father in me, I would feel that I finally accomplished something in my life.
Gotcha.
So far, my relationship with them, I count it as my only accomplishment in my life.
Mm.
Not the education, not everything I've done in this country, coming from Haiti, but to have been able to keep a relationship with my kids over 30 years, it's hard work.
I can imagine.
It's hard work.
I can imagine. I've always said, a parent's greatest success story will always be the success of your kids.
Little kids.
Yeah, that will be your greatest success story.
That's
So,
what it is.
from a Christian standpoint, and now having gone through 2 divorces, and it does sound like, based on the way you talked about the last marriage, that you do wish that there are things that you had done differently. So to people who are watching, who are finding themselves in a challenging situation where they're possibly thinking of calling it quit, like what would be your, advice and recommendation to them?
I don't feel that I'm qualified to give people any recommendation. I was talking to my son the other day. I said, I don't even think I can counsel you because I've failed twice in marriage. I don't feel that I'm qualified to do that to anybody. If I have to say something, first of all, pray that God gives you the grace. It's by grace. Just like you are saved by grace.
Yeah.
I feel that if you have the grace of God, then this is the most important thing to be successful in marriage. The second thing is on your part, do whatever you can. So if you're not successful, you have no remorse. Don't get a divorce because you cheated. You don't take care of your kids because you didn't pay the bills. That's nonsense. You get married, you pay your bill, you respect your wife, you treat her with respect. Whether you have to put her on a pedestal to your friends or to society, do so. So if something happened, you are clean your conscience. But do everything on your part. But unfortunately, it takes two to tango.
Right.
Whatever you are doing, the other person must feel she has some responsibility also toward you. But if you are the only one doing certain things and she doesn't feel, it's not gonna work.
Right.
Like where I come from, people don't cook.
Yeah.
Cook for your wife, But she also has to feel a responsibility to do the same for you. It's a mutual thing.
Yeah.
If you are into music, she's not into music, don't bother her. Go into her craft. If she likes painting, try to do some stick figure right there, sometime for fun.
Take her to one of those date nights, right?
Do whatever you do.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, follow her. Unless if it is really bothersome. Don't do anything illegal that she wants to do.
Yeah.
But, follow the stream. So that if something happened, you don't feel you are guilty of anything and you don't have any remorse in your life. If you are a Christian, if you're not guilty of those things, you can always go to God, clear.
Yeah.
But if you are guilty, now you're going to have remorse all over your life that you lost your kids because you were stupid, because you were not taking care of them, because you beat your wife. It's a hard place to be.
Absolutely. Do you feel like as a Christian, do you feel like you have failed, or do you feel like God loves you any less because you're twice divorced?
I never question the love of God because I'm one of those who understand that God is sovereign. He does whatever he wants. Paul could not even marry.
Yeah.
Paul was never married. And Moses was not living in the same house with his wife. All of these things. So I never blame God for anything. Even when I cannot see where I'm wrong, I know I'm wrong in a certain way. I may not even pinpoint exactly what it is, but I know I'm flawed. I'm flawed because he has a plan in my life, and I've always been a Christian, and I can see 10 other areas of my life he's been present.
Yeah.
I can count 10 other areas in my life he's been present.
Okay. So here's a question, because you mentioned something earlier. Like you said, there are certain things, there were certain restrictions that you had when it came to your wife, because for you felt like you were being a Christian and you were being holy and sanctified and things like that. So, like, to the married couples out there who are Christians, what would you say to them who feels like, because sometimes certain people are like, well, I'm supposed to be holy, I'm supposed to do this and that, so there are certain things I can't do, and that's sometimes the marriage suffers like that, right? So let's say the wife likes to go out, right? Go to restaurants, or maybe go to I don't know, like some shows, live music, and so on and so forth. But for you, you're like, oh man, I'm a Christian, I shouldn't be going to that place, I shouldn't be doing that. So if there's that kind of, toggle between the two, like, what would you recommend, as a happy medium, I guess?
Actually, if, like Paul said, if you are married to somebody and you give your life to Christ halfway through the marriage, now you have to keep your wife, do your best to keep your wife. That's what Paul says.
Yeah.
But if you're a Christian, first of all, it says don't be unequally yoked.
Yoke, right?
So if I'm marrying a Christian, I can always use the Bible as my reference point to say, I would like to please you, but that's what the Bible says. But when it comes to what you just said, movies, shows, I personally, I consider myself not a liberal Christian. I'm kind of conservative, but I still don't find any problem with taking my wife to Broadway shows,
Yeah.
Movies, going out to eat. What is there in this thing? I would never understand a Christian position to say I cannot do these things.
Right.
I mean, if you have monetary limitation, I understand. But you should take your wife out. You should take your wife out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great point when you talk about Paul, right? And I think Paul was telling the people, and he said, listen, if you can remain unmarried, that's probably the best situation or the best scenario. So that way you can fully dedicate yourself to the affairs of God. However, if you are going to get married, then you have to accept that you are going to do the things that married people
You're going
do.
to be under bondage.
Right. Yeah.
The bondage of marriage.
Right. You have to do the things that married people do. Right. So that means, it's there's nothing wrong with going to church, but it's like it can't be all about church Monday through Sunday.
No.
So you have to leave time for you to do.
You got to get a Saturday,
husband and wife.
Friday here and there. If you have the money, you can go somewhere else. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I will say something like this. Try to get your wife involved in your life, in your social life.
What you do, yeah.
And vice versa. Because if you marry somebody and you start seeing that you're not involved in her social life, those are red flags.
Right.
Those are red flags. When you cannot meet her friends, she cannot introduce you to her friends, you start being sidelined.
Yeah.
And you got to understand that. If you're a lady, you marry some guy, I don't care. You marry him or she marry you. Start getting each other's involved in each other's life. Bring their friends home. If they're inviting you, you go with your wife. If they're inviting your wife, you go with your husband, whenever it's possible. I'm not saying all the time,
Sure.
There is a ladies' night out or men's night out. It can happen, but not all the time.
Right.
Over 3-4 years, you never go out with your husband to your friend's party.
There's a problem somewhere.
There's a problem somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a problem. Yeah. And if the guy is not dumb, he understands.
Of course.
He understands. Yeah. Or the lady as well.
Got it.
You start going out, they don't know. You've been at work on a Friday. They know it's a weekend. The weekend starts Friday.
Yeah.
Honey, I'm with the boys. Okay, it can happen this Friday. Next Friday, I'm with the boys.
Yeah. It's like some, compromising and understanding.
You go on vacation with whom?
Yeah.
I'm going on vacation with the co-workers. Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of co-workers?
You gotta ask those questions, But Eddie, it was great to have you on the show. And as I said, there's another series that I'm working on. I'll definitely have you on to talk about it, because in the very beginning of the interview, you talked about sometimes people lack the understanding of certain verses or certain passages that they're reading in the Bible. So I know right now the church is somewhat divided on the topic of divorce and remarriage. I think at some point, this is one of the topics I'd like to do a deeper dive in, and making sure that, people understand where, what the Bible says.
Even the definition of marriage itself.
Right, exactly. So
marriage in the West, marriage in the East, marriage in Africa.
Right. Yeah, so exactly. So that's one of the things I would like to do, to go deeper on. So I definitely would like the opportunity to invite you back as we dive into those topics.
No problem. It was a pleasure talking to you, and it was a pleasure to know that some of the people are listening to me right now.
Yeah.
So I hope this was useful to you and to the audience.
Definitely. I mean, to me, it was definitely helpful and useful. So I appreciate it. And as I always say before I close the show, me personally, I don't believe in divorce. I don't support or promote divorce. But if you do find yourself in a situation where you have to go through a divorce, because I do know there are situations out there that warrant a divorce. If you find yourself in that position, we just want to let you know that you are not alone. you're not alone. Feel free to reach out to me or talk to someone. I know as men, it's not an easy thing for us to consider counseling, to go to counseling, to sit in front of someone and pull our feelings and, and all the things that is going through our minds. But if you feel more comfortable talking to a friend, I recommend it. If you don't have anybody to talk to, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to talk to you, or get you in touch with Eddie, and he'll be more happy to talk to you. So again, thank you very much for watching. It's always a pleasure to be on your screen. Don't forget, feel free to share this link with someone or post it on your social media page and leave a comment. Again, I'm JR. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.